Hey, Stoney here with another game of Mechabellum. This is a tournament game from the Mini Tournaments Americas. My opponent is Steelsane. He's an extremely talented player from Russia. So in this game, I am playing Elite Specialist with tanks and fans, and my opponent will be playing Marksman Specialist with tanks and crawlers, and of course the marksman. So he did buy 2 more units of marksman, and I went with level 2 crawlers being elite specialists. It's almost a no-brainer. Level 2 crawlers in early rounds are just so darn good. There's absolutely no reason not to take it unless you really want to do some stupid stuff. But for example, borrow and get, I don't know what you can buy with their like stone crawlers. But yeah, I went with the standard. I shifted the unit slightly to the side, just so that I want to make sure these units takes a bit longer to get to my unit. Also, just hitting on my chat. Level 2, look at these level 2 crawlers. They are doing so much damage, and they're not dying to a single shot of tank fire. So what happens is, we're effectively doubling the number of chaff because they take 2 shots to kill. It goes in, gets the tower. I think this sniper this round has been shooting nothing but crawlers and fans, so it's really not getting his value. These guys are getting onto the tanks, which is good, but it's just too little too late with my crawlers running in. And these crawlers are still going at it. That's how strong they are. I still have crawlers left. Okay, so that's round 1. Let's take a look at units. Wasp was offered, level 2. I immediately took it. If you watch my previous game, you will understand just how powerful Wasp can be, especially used with jump drive. My opponent went with the Fire Badgers because my level 2 crawlers are just doing a little too much. This set of tanks actually got leveled because they kind of survived till the very end, so they were definitely killing everything. And this is a pretty big deal because now this tank has the same health and firepower as 2 of his tanks, which is huge. Being elite specialist, I simply just don't have a lot of money. So I picked the Wasp, but I don't have enough money to go with, let's say, another tank. So I ended up just going with more chaff. I wanted to build my board. I know eventually I need to put 2 sets of tanks here, so might as well just start building my board. I'm putting a missile here, hoping to hit these tanks, but he did put some fans up front, so that's okay. Didn't get a lot of value, but I think it was just still good value. These level 2 wasps are eventually going to get the snipers, and then after that get the tower. And it's just a little unfortunate that some of it peeled off into the tanks, so now I'm getting tower a lot slower. But it's not all bad because the high-level sniper has just been shooting at my fans, and they will continue to do so until they get picked off by my wasps. Okay, so now it's just a battle between snipers and tanks and fire badgers, and these are level 2 tanks, so no problem here. Okay. Extended range sledgehammer is offered, so that's an excellent card. And my opponent picked supply specialty, which is also a great pick, being round 3. For me, I wanted to really level my sledgehammers. Being elite, I automatically get sledges at level 2s, and level 2 sledgehammers do pack a serious punch. They do 1200 damage per tank per shot, so this is times 5, so about 6,000 damage if you're shooting at the same thing. That's about the same as your level 3 marksman. And the tanks are just very tanky. They got splash, so it's pretty good. I unfortunately bought 2 sets of tanks, and I didn't have the money to get jump drive. It's like a $50 purchase. And I was debating whether I should take the loan or just suck it up and see what I do. These are level 2 wasps, which means they can tank just a little bit of damage. My opponent did put a set of Mustangs here. And there's nothing wrong putting Mustangs against wasps, but I am also going Sledgehammers, which means the Mustangs aren't going to be great later on. So I don't mind him putting down Mustangs at all. So let's look at the board. I do have 4 sets of tanks, 3 of them level 2. He has 1 level 2, 1 level 1, and 2 Fire Badgers. I think I am slightly better just in terms of overall health as well as the firepower. One problem though is that he is being more efficient at clearing out my chaff, especially at the center, which means that this orange man is going to get locked down a little quicker. He did clear out my wasp. I was hoping to move it, but didn't have the money. He's getting a lot of experience from killing these tanks. I think he's going to level, yeah, there it is, to level 4. And that's okay. I expected to lose this round because I just didn't have time to position everything. But it wasn't a terrible loss. Incendiary was offered, and it is interesting. And now look at his board. I think there's only one side that you can incendiary. And it's a lot better for him because then he can just go right through the middle. I did pick up incendiary. I wanted to just completely clear this side, which means he will no longer have any defense. And I also pick up Mech Rage because I have so many level tanks, and this one is going to level 3. I just think Mech Rage would be a very good option. My opponent picked Underground Threat. This is something like for elite specialists, it's not so easy to defend because I just don't have a lot of money. One way to do it is just to put more level 2 crawlers on both sides. But in this case, I think I was confident in saying that, hey, you can take my tower, there's no problem. I have enough fans to take care of you. I have my level 3 wasp, and the fire is going to take care of all your chaff on this side. So I'm not in a huge deficit, even though these crawlers are coming over. My level 3 fans is still doing plenty of work. The snipers are doing plenty of work, but I think I got this round just because of the Mech Rage. They get up to these snipers so fast. And we got tower, get the level 3 sniper, and I still have the big daddy tanks right there in the middle. This one gets a level, right? So lots of level tanks, and it's slowly growing out of control. If I were my opponent, I would probably start going giant. Scorpions might be a good option here, but really I want to go for giants. Intensive Training and Lightning Storm, these are both excellent cards. I think for Lightning Storm, I will be able to get a few snipers on his side. I decided to go with the Intensive Training because I really want my tanks to go out of control. Right now, these are level 5 Sledgehammers, doing 3000 damage per shot with Mech Rage. So these are pretty deadly, and they take a lot of punishment too. 12,000 health per unit, and I got 5 of them per squad. So these are really good. He went with Lightning Strike, which I understand. I added one more set of tanks just to kind of complete my formation near the end. My opponent went with 2 sets of Stormcallers. For the primary reason is just clearing out my fence so that the snipers can get to work. But I think right now the snipers aren't, they're okay, but they are being outscaled. Take this one for example. This is the level 4 sniper. It will still take 2 shots to kill one of my tanks. Well, my tanks would just kind of plow through everything he's got, right? This one right here, level 3, 2 shots on these level 3 Sledgehammers. And then on this side, yeah, this level 3 is gonna one-shot me, but this level 2 is still doing 2 shots on this sledgehammer. So overall, I think even though I didn't have a lot of units, I think they're definitely doing a lot of work. The wasp unfortunately got zapped by lightning, but that's okay. They're still tanking quite a few shots from the snipers, and that's all that I could ask for. I was hoping they would do a bit more damage in the middle, but unfortunately they're just a little bit too unlucky. This round went really well for my opponent. Because of the lightning storm, most of my chaff died, which means the snipers are able to shoot at me. And also these stonecrawlers, they do a lot of damage with my chaff. Orbital was a good option. So I took Orbital. I want to return the favor. And he also took Orbital. I shifted my wasp again, put aside, knowing that he's seeing my wasp in the middle, he's seeing my wasp on the side, he might put something in the middle to meet it. Maybe not both the middle and the side, because he's trying to focus on just getting rid of my chaff and getting rid of my unit. I added shield on the fangs, so now they survive a bit longer, both from the orbital and also a bit longer from the stonecrawlers. Next turn, I will go with anti-missile device, because now that these stonecrawlers are leveled, they do a bit more damage. So anti-missile device will help. My tanks are continuing to level. I think I probably need to add a few more levels for these tanks. I think this one is going to get a level on its own if it doesn't die to the stonecrawlers. I pick up speed just because I already have mech rage, and these also got stonecrawlers. I just want to make sure that I get in there, do the damage without getting hit too hard. The wasp teleported in, chasing after those crawlers. Not the greatest place to be, but again, they are drawing so many shots from these marksmen, so I can't really complain. And now you can see the sledgehammers with speed and what they can do, right? So this one just rushes in, takes the tower. This one is, gunning down their level 3. These guys are walking in as well. Absolute carnage. While the snipers are taking forever to get my sledgehammers. Alright, round 7. Lots of resources on both sides. Fortress was offered, and I believe my opponent would take Fortress right away. For me, I know eventually I'll go Melting Point. I wasn't sure right now is the time for Melting Point. Level 3 is not that big of a game, for me anyways, because I'm elite specialist, so I got level 2 fortresses automatically. He is going with level 2 melting points, what I mean. He is going with level 1 fortresses, so I think level 3 melting point might be a slight overkill. I had a bit of a problem with chaff clear. I know my tanks hit hard, but I don't want to waste their shots on the chaff, so I added extra pair of typhoons, also just to kind of serve as a bit of meat shield, tanking from the fortresses and everything else. I put my wasp in the middle. Not seeing any response. I saw the Mustangs. Well, I didn't see this one, but I thought he would go ahead and do the Mustangs. So I put them in the middle. So sledgehammers here, they are going to do the damage we need. The wasp in the middle are going to get in there because I don't see any defense. I put in the anti-missile because I didn't want to waste any time on his fence. I just want to go straight to the units. Alright, let's see how this round goes. I did eventually put down the anti-missile device because of the stonecrawlers. Level 2 stonecrawlers, because they do pack a bit of a punch. And even more fangs. Late arriving, so they can walk in and tank a few more shots. The wasp out in. The wasp aren't really doing too much in terms of damage, but they are again tanking so many shots from these marksmen. I think at this point, yes, fortresses are usually a direct counter to tanks, but because I am like level 6 tanks, this set of tanks is just taking down this fortress no problem. And the same goes to this side, right? Sure, the fortress kind of picking off these tanks, but with level 6 tanks, like it one-shots towers, is kind of ridiculous. Okay. Now, just because I have high-level tanks doesn't mean that I don't need to pay attention to these fortresses. They are ranged and they are getting a level, so this one's getting a level, which means there is a very real possibility, because they bought a tech for it, that it's going to add even more fortresses. Tanks at sort of a 2-to-1 ratio to fortress is okay, especially if your tanks are leveled. But if he adds more fortresses, I simply have no more room to add tanks. So I need to have a direct response, and we are getting into the late game. The improved melting point card came up. This card is the second time this card came up this game. The first time was just a bit premature, but this time is just perfect timing. Anything improved is super great for elite because you automatically get level 2s and whatever stats that's being improved. So in this case, attack by 50%. It just times that on top of your double stats on your level. So it's really good card. Incendiary was off cooldown and so was oil. So I added both these items, but unfortunately they got shields. My opponent's quite good. My opponent also had fire on the stone crawlers with oil. The melter, not the melter, the crawler underground threat was here again. My level 2 crawlers was there to meet them. I think just barely not winning that battle, and that's okay. My level 2 melting point with range. This is just a brutal unit right here. Sure, my tanks are kind of getting picked off right here, but they're still living, like just to see how long they survive. And this one even picks off the fortress. This one is just going at everybody. Level 2, the health is at 100,000. I'm sure you got some high level marksman, level 5 marksman, but it's still going to take you forever. My range is 190, so this is 195 marksman, so I almost at the same range as the range marksman. So this is a pretty brutal unit right there. More units. I think for me, I really just wanted to get some money. Bought the war factory, sold the war factory, got a little bit of money, and went with more melting point. I think my board right now is very healthy because as long as I have only fortresses and marksmen to deal with at the end of the game, these melting points are just going to kill everybody. I think my high level sledges are doing just fine in clearing out the chaff. With the extra money, I even bought the range on my sledgehammers so that they are they're still being well, they actually outrange the fortresses, so they're not getting shot at that quickly by the fortresses. For my opponent, the scorpions, I guess it makes sense, but they are level 1 scorpions, which means for example, this tank here, one volley from this tank kills the scorpion. So they're not that useful. I wouldn't go scorpions. I'll probably go something air. You might have to worry about the melting point, but aside from the melting point, maybe range phoenixes might work better. Okay, so my ranged sledgehammers, they're just shooting everything from the back. My late arriving shafts are doing exactly what they're supposed to do, arriving late and tank damage. Like, none of my tanks got hit so far. They're just dealing damage and not being hit. And now look at the board. There's nothing left. There's some scorpions. I have my full set of tanks, and I got 2 melting point, which can just take care of everything, even without the tanks. And with that, it's a good game. So what did we learn in this game? Well, first of all, level sledgies are very strong, right? Late arriving chaffs are pretty good too. When we're using elite specialists, when you see improved unit card, take it, or at least treat it with more priority, because they are just simply better for elite specialists. Inversely, if you see a mass-produced card for elite specialists, maybe avoid it. It's just not worth it. For my opponent, I think the last round, the Scorpions, I don't believe they're necessarily a great choice. He could have won maybe with Phoenixes, or simply just get the money and maybe get extra sets of Stonecrawlers, and just hoping I don't put enough anti-missile devices. The fortresses, they are good. They are definitely a good choice. They are slightly late because of just how many levels I've gotten on my sledgehammers. The Mustangs really didn't do much. I think eventually they just serve as chaff the moment I sold my Wasp in the middle. So they're just kind of chaff in the map. And that's okay. They weren't upgraded, so that's okay. I think my opponent could maybe do a bit more flanking, or at least, you know, draw some firepower away from these sledgehammers. Maybe shield on the fans would have been nice. I don't think he has nearly enough chaff to deal with what I have. So what end up happening is these tough sledgehammers are just going to shoot him where the big units are. So anyways, it was a really fun game. I hope you enjoyed it, and I'll see you on the next one.